All right, I'm live. Welcome to my live stream. This is Joshua Kemble's live stream. I'm Joshua Kemble. I've been a professional artist for over 15 years and a professional art director for about 7. And when I'm not art directing or doing that or like hanging with the fam, which you're going to hear in the background because this is a daytime stream, I usually do these at night. But I missed yesterday's thumbnails, and so I need to catch up. And so that's me. This is going to be me catching up. So when I'm not doing that stuff, I am working on comic books, my own personal comic book projects. And right now I'm going to be working on 2 stories. Book 1, which is pow. I don't know if that'll focus in time, but 2 stories. Book 1 is my graphic novel. It's a confessional graphic memoir that grapples with questions of faith, mental illness, and depravity and ultimately redemption in a fallen world. It's 122 hand-lettered, hand-inked, hand-drawn pages. And yeah, Frank just called it right. It's day gang right now. What a trip. So my goal is to try to knock out thumbnails for this page, or at least get a good hour in, so that I'm caught up and I can do another stream later tonight. But that should about catch us up with what I'm doing. What I'm also working on, just so you guys know, during the stream, I'm going to be working on book 2 of 2 stories. And the last stream, I did the thumbnails for, let's see, hang on, let me get rid of view extras. I don't want all those grids. So the last stream I finished page 113, which is what you're looking at. And what I'm going to be working on today is thumbnails for page 115. And I'm hoping to just jam on these. So the only catch is these are going to have like little biblical references all throughout. So I'm probably going to have to be looking up verses and stuff throughout and doing a little bit of research. So hopefully that makes for something interesting. I'm also excited because I have a new webcam, which is auto-focusing every once in a while, but I'm pretty happy with it. It's right here, and I'm pretty excited about that. That should open up opportunities it's something I was hoping for my birthday, but the main reason for it is I'm able to use my phone as a live webcam. So when it comes to actually making these pages like inked, I'll be able to do a live stream where it shows my face and me working. So I'll be able to talk to the camera and yet at the same time have the live stream also show the inked pages as they're being inked, in theory. I still have to mess with it and see what the best setup is. But let's just go ahead and get into the art. So as usual, what I like to do when I'm doing these pages is kind of break up the previous thumbnails into 3 sections so that I can basically pull them out and look at them for reference as I go. Okay. And this one, again, this is going to be an interesting sequence because what I'm planning on doing, or what I'm hoping to do with this, is have it go from a passage that literally cites scripture, and then the next passage, it's kind of like quote and then reflect, and quote and reflect, and quote and reflect. So each time I'm going to have it probably have like type that looks like it's straight from the Bible, and then next to that I'm going to have like an illusion being drawn from it. So hopefully this can be like a 6-panel page. Actually, I think I might still stick with the 9-panel grid, but it'll be interesting to see how this shows up because I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this yet. Let's see here. What else? I do want to look at one of these previous pages and I think just get my grid from there. So there's a rough like just shape to the to the panel without me having to kind of remeasure it. Oh, come on. So we're going to kind of work out the thumbnails for this page and just kind of see where it goes from there. And it's pretty exciting to be at the point of like 114 pages of these blocked out and roughed out, because it gives me a better idea of the sequence of the stuff I have to do. And unlike usual with these comics and stuff, it's funny, you can hear like sirens and stuff in the background. I wonder if you guys can hear that. But basically, one of the things that this is going to help me to do is when I'm working out the final, I'll be able to work out all the final type in one block, and then take all the photo references, which might take like weeks, but at least just get those done and make that my primary project. And then from there, do all the penciling and all the inking, all in batches. So I'm trying a little different thing. Usually what I used to do is I'd have my final script, and then I would thumbnail it as I went, go from thumbnails to tight pencils, from tight pencils to lettering, from lettering and panel borders to getting photo references, and then from there to like penciling. Each page I would do that process, and that was a long-winded way of doing it. And I think by batching, this will actually speed up the process. So my hope is to get this book done to the same level and degree of effort that I put into the first, but just more efficiently. So hopefully that'll help it get done a little quicker. So okay, so here we go, and I'm going to have to look up some biblical passages because I didn't actually cite where the passages were in my script. So, okay, so this is Matthew 5. It's so funny. Matthew 5:3. And I'm trying to do live streams as I'm doing art because I think it gives insight into the process and how long it takes to kind of make these things. But let's see. Oh, perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is basically, like I said, when I cite the passages, I'm going to just take a photo and get those references out of the way too, because what I'm going to do in theory is just have the panels be specifically like the passages. So let's see here. There we go. It's just hard with it's going to be hard to get a good photo of it. So, but we'll see. There we go. And now I'm going to upload this, airdrop it. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but I'm going to do this for each passage that I cite. So I know it doesn't make for the most exciting. Doesn't make for the most exciting content, but that's how I'm going to do this. So, okay. And then I need to take that and put it in my quarterly box. What are you up to right now, Frank? How are you doing, man? Let's see here. So then this is going to be pulled over here. Okay. So I had to take a really quick photo. And in this case, I think we'll be good. Okay. Okay. So I want to have that there so I can kind of reference it. Okay. So a lot of this is just going to be typing, guys, but that's okay. So let's see here. Frank said, I'm all right. There's a a tornado warning suggest inside. I remember that from when I lived in Texas as a kid. Like all of the time, every once in a while, there would be like a tornado warning, and I think there were like even seasons. I mean, you got to keep in mind I was like maybe 5 when those things were happening. But let's see here. This is also going to be a fun thing. Okay, so in this case, I might specifically actually just put these under so I can kind of highlight the area that I want to have. And in this case, since we're mimicking biblical text, I might actually just trace it. Let's see here. Okay. I'm just trying to think of a way to lay it out in there. That's not. Okay, so here's the idea is just to have, okay, and I'm thinking of just for these, like on the type to have something, some kind of device that's going to highlight it. But in this case, I really just want to mock it up and we'll see. We'll see where it goes. So blessed are the. How's it going, Jim? What are you up to, man? How's Pleasure Beast coming along? Jim is working on a short animation called Pleasure Beast that I think I'm doing a voice for. I'm playing like the cool pastor on it. And every time, I think it was a well-chosen title because every time I say it, like my wife will just crack up. It's pretty hilarious. So well done, Jim. You've made my wife laugh before the animation's even been made, which I think is pretty good. So, Jim, this line, like I was asking what you were doing, and just the fact that I get to quote you where it says, in Ventura, animating Pleasure Beast. I just imagine like the documentary of Jim Lujan where you'll be like, when I was in Ventura, animating Pleasure Beast. All right. So let's see. And then Frank appropriately said, Jim, you're doing an animation about me. Okay. Project titles would be a great topic for Artcasters. Speaking of Artcasters, our last Artcasters, we had on Chris from Chris Makes Comics. And one thing that was brought up during that, like we talked a little bit of crap about Comicsgate and how bad it sucks. But one of the reasons we were saying it was bad, like was that like it just kind of sucks. For Chris, it kind of sucked because he is not like a typical like white like male, like which is generally what comics have always been made by. And so what was brought up was just the idea of like Latino voices in comics. And I was instantly like, from that conversation, like, dude, I need to get not Jim. I need to get Javier Hernandez on because Jav like has been doing so much work on that, like getting broader voices in comics and like setting up like a whole comics expo about it. And so I actually reached out to Jav today, and Javier was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. So we're going to have Javier on the next Artcasters, but maybe, Jim, maybe we can do an Artcasters about, let's see, about like titles. I think actually project titles would be great. I feel like my project title is not the best title, but it's funny, like even my literary agent and I were like going over it and we were just like, trying to think of how how much like it just was the only title that fit the story, was two stories, which is really weird because we kept going back and forth about other potential titles, and it's just like two stories just ended up having to be the title. So okay, Jim, we'll have to do the title show. I'll work out a time. Let me write down to do that. I got like this crazy list of things to do, but I'm gonna write that down. Time, book, Jim for titles. Yeah, because I do think a good title goes a really long way. It's not a bad thing to have like a good one. Is it Hispanic Awareness Month? When will I be on to talk about mini comics? Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I don't think it's like an awareness thing. It's just more of like a. It just made me think of Hav because I was trying to think of like cartoonists I know who've been fighting that fight to like get more representation in comics for a really long time, and instantly I just thought of Hobby because he is a badass powerhouse in comics. Like, and honestly, he's also an old friend, so it's like it just kind of made sense. I was like, we haven't had him on yet, I don't think, or if we did, it was long ago. So so I think it would be good to have him. Let's see. And I mean, like, he's also one of those friends that goes back like way before, like at the inception of podcasts, like when we were doing Big Illustration Party Time, and like Jim was actually doing a podcast that was like a bunch of different fake bands. It was like a fake radio station. It's back in the talk show days. So it's always good to get somebody from that era on, I think. So I'm gonna have to do all of this type. I know this is not the most exciting thing in the world. It's like watch my live stream while I trace biblical type. But I think it's gonna be cool. The sequence is gonna be cool because it's gonna bounce from little quotes to like the responses, and I think they're pretty cool. Okay, the fake explosion. That was what it was called, Jim. Holy crap, that was amazing. I loved the fake explosion. I do like it on YouTube too, but there was something really cool about it. I don't know why, just in my head. It felt like an old time radio thing, like in a good way. It had like just being subscribed to that on iTunes was like one of the coolest things in the world, because I don't know, it was almost like the old comedy shows, you know, that would have like parody music or whatever. It was super fun and very cool, very well done. Speaking of Jim Lujan, if you guys haven't, you should check out all of Jim's stuff on Amazon and like leave reviews and stuff because it's pretty cool. Freak Daddy just went on there. Like a bunch of his cool stuff is up there. Okay. They made Queen up into a fun game. So this is gonna have, I think I'll have a thumb here. I know this is crazy, you guys, drawing a thumb. Yeah, thank you, Jim. You just filled in what I was blanking out on. It was a lot like Dr. Demento. It reminded me of that a lot. And I was kind of dancing around saying Dr. Demento because I was like trying to remember and couldn't. So yeah, it very much had like a Dr. Demento vibe. Except like, you know what's funny? And this isn't to talk crap on Dr. Demento because Dr. Demento was amazing. But when you listen to Dr. Demento, every once in a while, like the songs weren't always well produced or amazing. Like they were always guaranteed to be pretty funny. But so it was kind of like listening to Dr. Demento if like every single song was like this really well thought out, like well produced piece of music. Because Jim, when he does parody music, he doesn't just mess around. He's like pretty serious about it. So okay. Back to tracing the Bible. Okay. So here we go. This is going to help a lot, though, with the final. So seeing. Okay. Again, these are thumbnails, so I don't need to get like super crazy about it. So my next panel after this, I'm going to have to kind of think about too, because it's like this one's pretty self-explanatory, but each one of these, tracing the Bible sounds like a documentary. It does, right? Let's see. He went up on the okay. So you're probably going to hear like a lot of Saturday morning cartoon style stuff in the background because my son is up and rocking some cartoons. So my goal here, it's funny, before I showered or got ready or anything, I was like, I need to catch up for what I did not do last night. So this is like almost like self-imposed punishment, where I'm like, I have to get this comic done. And so I'll do little things like that, like every once in a while, especially if I'm behind. I'm like, okay, I'm behind where I need to be. I'm going to set these little goals and sort of force myself to get this done. So, okay. Again, doesn't have to be super polished. This is just a rough. So, okay. And I'm going to do like the old movie style thing, I think, with this, where it's going to like have like light. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but like in old black and white films, especially like the old crime dramas, when it would go over like a newspaper headline or something like that, it would have like almost a vignette like around the letters that they wanted you to focus on. And I'm totally going to use that. It's a cheap trick, but you know, sometimes when you're in the mood for like 80s butt rock, cheap trick is quite the thing. All right, so for they well, that's a cool dream, Frank. That's pretty interesting. And it's like I'm not gonna like go through all of the Beatitudes. It's more of like this is a sequence where it's talking about specific verses that kind of spoke to me and sort of contradicted what I knew of a lot of Christians like in the media. And so it's like it's gonna juxtapose with like, that's not what I thought, you know. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but it'll be a story device that I think hopefully will further the narrative and kind of help people understand like the significance of this in the story. But again, when I do sequences like this, I'm always like really cautious because it's like I really don't want to make chick tracts. And Not that there's anything wrong with Jack Chick or anything, but that's definitely not the style of thing that I want to do. Um, let's see here. So it's going to be interesting, like balancing that fine line where, okay. So this is still coming out. Let's see here. I need to turn the opacity down here a little bit. Okay. What's cool is on the final, this is going to really look cool because I feel like a lot of people in comics, on hand done comics, like where everything looks hand done, they'll do like digital lettering. And it's just like, it never quite, it never quite works to me because I think like there's something really cool about the hand done next to the hand done that like gels it all together. So it's like, even with this, it's like it would be a lot easier to just type this out. Of course, for a thumbnail, I guess it doesn't matter. Maybe I'm just a little strange. And then we got anyhow, the panel after this is going to be very much not something Chick would like. Hey Jake, how you doing, man? Long time no see. Let's see here. Preface. I would say I was joking, but the night gang is not the same without you, Jake. It's good to see you, man. Although this is not quite a night gang gathering, it's like it's a day gang anomaly because I had to catch up for my missing the night gang last night. But how are you doing, man? How are your comics coming along? Exam hell. Ooh, that sounds. But finally freed. Cool. I'm glad you got them done. Does that wrap it for school for you? I think that was it, right? Like you're kind of completed with it. Let's see here. Okay. 40, 100. Boom. Look at that. Okay, now, like I said, I'm going to do that old movie trick where it's going to do the vignette, which is a cheap trick. It really is, but I think it's the best to. It's the best way to do this on something like this, and it might be kind of cool and old timey. So I'm going to do like a little bit of a vignette. Yeah, see, like an old movie. Because in old films, this is going to be really interesting when it comes to, for those of you who have picked up a copy of Two Stories, you'll notice that it's all done with hatching and there is no like grayscale tone. So this effect is going to be interesting to see how that works out. But that is a problem for, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but like one of the ways I like to work, even now, it's like I will kind of almost like imagine that I myself am a different employee. So like it just helps me not be too precious about things or too easy about things for myself later. So like when I'm writing my script, I just imagine myself as being writing the best script I can write, and I'm not super worried about like the visuals. I'm just worried about making the best story I can do. And then when it comes to thumbnailing it from there, it's like half the time I'm like, oh, what a jerk that screenwriter was, right? Or that script writer was, because I've written myself into some really complex scenarios that I have to fix it, to work out. And let's see here. Let's see. Okay, we want to go back to a soft brush here. let me see. So anyhow, like the thing I was gonna get at was like by separating each step of it, like, and not concerning myself too much with the later steps, it puts me in harder drawing positions than I need to be, because I'll decide like, hey, I need a crowd scene here or something like that, or like I need a gradated area that might be complex, like to work out in the style I'm doing it. But it helps me actually make better work, I think. So, and I think that works because that focuses on blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Okay. So now it's going to go into my very non-chick chick track panel here. So it's going to say this, although I am using the word jive. I have a weird vocabulary. Sometimes I'll use strange words like jive, even though it's a very outdated term, I guess. This didn't. Jive. And then Jake said regarding the kind of little cheat from the old timey detective films. He said it's not cheating if the effect is intentional. I like that. This didn't jive with the lunatic. Recording. Oh, warmongering is hard. Frank said, I use jive and other outdated terms. I hear Anna saying similar terms, so I guess it is a retro sort of thing. Maybe the terms are a method of carbon dating ourselves. Well, what's funny is like a word like jive like outdates me, so but yeah, I don't know. You dig? I'm just gonna intentionally start using really outdated terms. What's cool, actually, Jim Luhan has me playing like a cool pastor in his latest cartoon, Pleasure Beast, and it is going to be hilarious because I do use like a ton of kind of outdated slang, as a cool pastor should, where it's like you're hip and cool, but not really. Because I mean, really, how cool can you be as a pastor? Not really cool. 22 skidoo. Ooh, I don't even know what that means, but that's good. That's a deep cut, Frank. I like that. That sounds like a very deep cut of outdated slang jive. Okay, so let's see here. So the V is going to be here. Okay. I'm trying to make room here so that warmongering doesn't look totally out of place here. Okay. I saw justifying. And it's not justifying. It's just going to be justify. Justify. All right, here we go. Okay, I think this will work. Justify, and then this is going to say be wealth. Wording. Hopefully this works. Wording and warmongering. I'm sure there is a comic character called the Warmonger. There has to be. Do you guys know? I'm sure there is, because that's just like that's like a no-brainer character named Warmonger. That's a pretty great villain name. Okay, so let's see here. So we've got that. Now I need to figure out. So the era this takes place in is pre-Trump. So I don't think I can just draw Trump here. Let's see. But I can do one almost as good here. Yeah, Warmonger and Valiant Comics. Yeah, I knew it. I knew that had to be a thing, because like how could that not be a comic book name? I'm not familiar though. I should probably like brush up on who that is. Okay. So this is gonna be very like caricature-y section, but I think I'm gonna try to see what I can do here. Okay. Do. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we can do. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna try to draw around the time this comic was made. I think it was like the era this is like possibly like right before the first Obama term. That's how long ago this was. So I think it was during Bush's second term. So I'm gonna do like a little Bush caricature. This is the bummer of doing autobio. It's like I can't really get current with like, I mean, obviously the obvious drawing here. If you think of like the personification of like what was disturbing and very unbiblical about like the way like a Republican was functioning. And this isn't to trash Republicans, but I think anybody in their right mind would be able to look at like a Donald Trump and be like, yeah, well, I mean, regardless of what you think about the guy, I don't think he's like a very good representation of like Christian values, you know? But let's see here. All right. Bush is a weird one though. So I'm going to see what I can do here to do like a little, going to have my little beady eyes. Let's see. Very much exaggerate here. Do. Anyhow, the time this is writing about is really was profound for me, because I had kind of associated Christians just because of the school, and I talk about it a little bit in the first book, but because of the school I had gone to, I had kind of associated them with a political party, and I was fascinated to find like people who believed in God but like weren't in denial about science, like people who believed in God but like weren't necessarily like towing a specific party line. And so that's what this is about. Because like now that's not like a super profound realization for me, because it's like I definitely have met a lot of deep thinking, caring like believers, but at the time it was like this really like, whoa, that's not what I imagined. Like I being kind of reintroduced to the text, I was just like, this is interesting, because like it doesn't jive with like anything that, you know, a lot of people who are publicly running around like professing belief like really stand for. So okay, so here's weird Bush sketching. He's got such a beady nose though. Like it's like you want to get that little point interesting. Okay. But yeah, so for me, that's what you know, this comic's sort of my story, and it definitely is like was an important part of how I changed my mind on that belief kind of thing. So let's see here. But yeah, no, this would be W, you know, good old W. Okay, I'm gonna get that. Kind of. It's the important part is that lip, that upper lip kind of overlapping, I think, to get that. And again, just a thumbnail, but at least that'll kind of set the stage for what I can do here. Okay, so let's just get a little looser though. I'm getting a little too tight with the trying to nail a portrait here, and missing kind of the forest for the trees potentially, because just need to block this out. Okay. I think that needs to definitely need to exaggerate those giant ears. Let's see here. And there's definitely that. All right, I'll worry about likenesses shortly after. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, whatever. All right, so there we go. And now we're going to have sort of parody, a little bit of problematic nature of that'll be okay. So let's see. Oh, I've got it. I have a really good way of kind of parodying a little bit of what this could be. Just a real quick blocked out gun kind of thing. It's totally going to be ridiculous, but it'll work. There we go. So a little bit of improv there, but that's okay. That's going to be like the weird kind of jacket. This will be, let's see here, what do we got? There's always like a weird, like him and McConnell and like most politicians at some point, they get this like weird, like president neck. Okay, here we go. Boom. All right, so there we go. We've got like a little bit of a, and this is going to be like a, wait a minute, you don't have that confident of shoulders. All right, let's see here. And there we go. And not the most like brilliant of concepts here, but it just will drive home the kind of point, I think. And this will be a Bible. What do you know? Okay. Nothing brilliant here, just typical kind of editorial style thing. Very quick sketch. Okay. Do. All right, there we go. And we've got just gonna have like a bunch of money here, because if you're going over the top, you might as well go all the way, right? So there's gonna be like dollar bills just flooding the background here. All right, there we go. And we're just gonna keep doing that. Keep adding some money here. What do you guys think about that? I'm having fun just filling this up to an absurd extent. And then what's funny is the version of me that has to draw this really well and perfected later on is just going to be like rocking a snub nose. That's a good point.
Look up Papa on your phone. Your phone should know what Papa Needles.
I think maybe it can cover a little bit of this. Let's make this a giant, ridiculous. I do want it to be like a more of a Glock. So, and I, of course, when I have to finish this up, like I said, we'll probably make it a little bit more kind of finished gun. So there you go, suckers. I don't know why I'm calling people suckers. It's just I'm being goofy. Okay, so whatever. There's a giant monster gun. Okay, money. All right, so there's going to be money here. Again, these are tight roughs, but they're still roughs. So the guy who has to finish this is another guy in the future that's going to be like, dude, why did you draw like $1 million bills? Why do I have to do this now? Because at that point, I'm going to have to actually draw real money and maybe coins here. Make it a little like Uncle Scrooge-ish. All right. And I think that'll do it for the concept. Nothing super inventive or unique about the concept, but it'll work. Okay. So now we got that. We got a little bit of push going here.
Grammarly can help you write quickly and quick.
And let's see here. Just gonna get that snub nose like nice and dark. Okay, and we're gonna totally have to fix that hand in the final, but whatever. Okay, and it's funny. I'm doing that thing they joke about in film where they say, "I'll fix it in post." I'm totally doing that with a lot of these. Like I said, future me will probably be really annoyed at that. And I think the idea of just like leaving this all a little vague in the background works. Okay, cool. Aviator glasses, golden chains, and cigars. I like that. That's actually not a bad idea. Well, there will be more where that came from. So maybe I might hold that idea later on. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that in my, okay, there we go. Now on to the next. Like I said, I'm gonna be alternating. So it's gonna be like every other panel is gonna be scripture juxtaposed with my own take on it. And before I get into that, I'm gonna take a quick 20-second break because we're almost at the hour mark, and then I will be right back. I appreciate you guys are hanging there. Yeah, don't worry, Josh, we'll fix it in the inks. No, I'm gonna fix this in the pencils. These are just roughs. Oh, yeah, never leave things to the ink stage. I agree with that. So when this comes to like the final pencils, I'm gonna work out everything, because the only thing you might want to leave to inks for yourself, I think, would be stuff like if you have like a splatter texture. Like one of my favorite things to do every once in a while is like use a toothbrush dipped in ink, and then you just go and like flick the ink specks on stuff. And that you can't really plan for. Like you can kind of map it out in pencils, but you're not going to really plan for that. But everything else, I think, yeah, definitely get it in pencils 100%. In this case, since I'm doing thumbnails and just kind of tighter roughs, it's like I can leave a little bit to chance and to the later me, who will then kick me for having designed things that are a pain in the butt to draw. Okay, so that's 2 panels in, and I'm going to take a real quick break for about 20 seconds, and I will be back. So, yes. All right. All right, so here goes. Now I'm going to get back on it and find Let's see if I can't find it here. Oh, it's so funny because I can, had I not, let's see. Oh my goodness, that is so perfect because now I can actually not have to redraw that whole business. Okay, I love this. High five, past self. So here, it literally is in the Beatitudes, the next passage, which I luckily will not have to redraw. Although I do want a different thumb just to kind of change crap up a little bit for people to... Worst mistake of my life was to leave the ink stage. Got to go tighter pencils. 100%. Yeah. That's also a mistake I see a lot of, like when I used to teach digital art, like at Laguna, I would see students make that mistake a lot too, where they'd be like, oh, I'll just fix it when I scan it. And it's like, no, like, especially if you're doing traditional, like get it right on the page, because cleaning it up digitally quite often ends up being harder to fix later on than just getting it right in the first place. If you get it right, then you're polishing when you have it digital. If you get it, like if you make everything wait till you get to digital, it can actually really, at least when we're talking just like cleaning up traditional inks, like if you're going to go traditional inks, like do most of it traditionally and do it right. And then you'll high five yourself. And then Frank said, bless you, to my wife who just sneezed. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to do this business. There are dogs that you will hear as well. We have a couple dogs in the house, one of which is a crazy Chihuahua that we're watching for my sister-in-law, who is adorable, but like also has the syndromes that most Chihuahuas have, where they feel like they have to prove themselves and prove their worth because they're so tiny. So that Chihuahua is like constantly fronting. Let's see. And trying to kind of warn other Chihuahuas and other dogs, like, I am really tiny and I am really scared and I'm going to act like I'm 50 times larger. That's pretty much the nature of that Chihuahua. So, okay. So let's see here. Look at this. Look at this, you guys. And now that framing device makes a little more sense, because it just is going to save me a lot of time. Okay. Although that's probably the only passage that I get to do that with, because the next ones I have to actually redraw a little bit. Look at that. Okay. Merge down. We're making progress, guys. I threw too little detailing and comp work during the pencils and had to do a load of filling in when inking. That was a learning curve when doing digital comic for the first time. 100%. Yeah. Work out. Like, that's part of why I'm spending so much time on these thumbnails, is like, I really want this worked out so that the thinking work that I have to do when it comes to like inking and penciling is going to be very minimal. Even finding photo references and stuff, like the more I have it worked out in the comp stage, in theory, the easier and quicker the last half of this project will go. Because a lot of the hard work goes into this part. So it's funny because it's like a lot of people might look at this and be like, why spend so much time in the preliminary? But it's like the more I spend in the preliminary, like the less work it is for me later on down the line.
Did you know Lynx attacked us
In theory, I could I could also kick myself. But with illustration, I've never like, whenever I've had to do professional illustration, I've never felt bad in retrospect spending time on the comp stage. And this part, because it's just beat. It's basically like premise and then response setup. It's like a call and response kind of setup. I think sticking to my 9 panels might actually work really well because it's going to tile, and I think that'll be cool. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, and then the fourth is just going to lead into the next page that I think will repeat the same premise and device. So, which should be really nice. Okay. Same premise and device and nice rhyme, you guys. Is that crazy or what? Okay, so I'm like a poet who didn't realize it. All right, here we go. And moving through this page, I'm very excited about it. Not the most exciting layout, but I think for just what it's trying to do, this is what I consider every time I'm doing comics. Like, first off, like, I want to try to do things that only comics can do. But also, just because I can doesn't mean I should. Like, meaning there's some areas like this where I think the text requires me to stick to a grid a little more for the emotional impact of it when you're reading it. And that's what I'm always considering, is like what's gonna convey what I need to convey most effectively. Okay, so we got the morning. Okay. But I think this device, just since it's going to be a repeating device, is going to make a lot of sense. We're getting closer to like a quarter through the fourth to last page. So I'm excited about this because it's been a while of doing these thumbs, but I'm really excited about getting to a potentially different phase in the process. It is hard for me though to maintain focus and not want to like jump ahead, but I think I can do it. Okay, I didn't. Feel blessed.
Well, essentially, Benji, it's tag, but you're holding your breath. And once you tag, you have to get back over the line before the other team gets you, or you don't even get to. Your tag doesn't even count. Very complicated.
So I didn't feel blessed, but was definitely mourning. Many losses.
Get you some day clothes over there.
Okay, so this is going to be hearkening back. Did I just use the word hearkening? Hark. I shall hearken back. But there's an earlier part of this story that actually talks about my father passing away from cancer. And in this case, I think I need to call back to an earlier part of this actual story. So let's see here if I can find a good panel to reflect back to. That might actually be it. I actually want to do, so these are just reflections of previous ones. And I want to actually do this. Maybe. That's a possible. Oh, I've got a better idea. Okay, we're going to use this instead. This is like a technique that I like to use that I feel like, in a weird way, I'm trying to remember the guy who did, oh my gosh, I'm blanking out on the film. It's like a, what was that? I'm going to have to remember the name of the film. And I feel bad because it has a real cool title. I think it's Dream for an Insomniac or something. Wait, what was that movie called where the like mom gets hooked on diet pills and they all get hooked on drugs and stuff? It's like super disturbing.
What?
The movie where like it has Jared Leto in it and it's like really disturbing. It's about like them getting addicted to drugs and stuff.
Oh,
Requiem for a Dream. Thank you. Okay, so one thing that director does that I actually pull, I pulled this from is he'll use like sampling, and so he'll have like a sequence where it shows like a recycled sample that kind of repeats throughout the film, and I think that's a really powerful device, and it's used extremely well in that but I feel like comics are a medium where you can really use that kind of thinking where you're kind of, especially if you're talking about something, you can kind of sample something from before and recycle images for emotional impact, but only for emotional impact. I wouldn't get in the habit of like doing it for no reason, but I think it just psychologically helps people when they're reading something to have imagery repeat that then pulls them back to earlier in the narrative. And it also helps when tying threads together of plots and trying to come to a conclusion. It doesn't work so well in like a 4-page story. I think if you do that in a 4-page story, it just seems like a gimmick and something like a cheap way to do a comic. But when you're working on like a really long narrative, that's one of the cool things that I like to try to pull. So yeah, let's see here. Oh, I'd like to read that. The Park Bench. You know what's funny is I actually did a comic that was like a poster called The Park, and it basically just takes place in a park and shows like a couple walking through a park and literally aging every panel. Yeah. But yeah, the recycling repeating montage to show the intake process of drugs is iconic. Yeah, it totally is, and it's also just like super effective narratively if it's used right. You know, definitely not a movie you want to watch on like a weekend for fun, but it's a really powerful film, I think. So okay, so we've got that. Making our way through the page, guys. Making our way through the page. Let me see. Okay. So the next thing is going to be another biblical passage that I probably need to find. What's cool is this actually isn't too far from the previous panel, so I might be able to actually use that same photo. Just got to kind of tread it a little bit. What would that be called? There it is. Okay. Do you think I can actually... Oh, goodness. Okay. And I want to shift the angle just a tiny bit. And then we got to do our business again here. Okay. Very effective scares. It deals with dreams and nightmares. Yeah. Oh, From the Evil Within. Nice. I'm going to have to check that out. I don't think I ever saw The Evil Within. It sounds pretty cool. I think I heard about the process of that, though. Is that the son of J. Paul Getty? Like, is that the... was he, like, the guy who was, like, held in the hostage crisis or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought he had, like, a really troubled childhood and, like, poured his whole fortune and, like, into making that movie. Is that the right movie, or am I thinking a different thing, Jake? Is that the right one? Is he the guy who... I can't remember, but I think he was, like... yeah, like it was like one of those things where, man, I hope I'm not remembering this wrong, but I think his parents, like, yeah, okay, cool. In Praise of Shadows did a video on it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so he grew up, and as you know, very famously, like his father was a very wealthy man, I think like a billionaire, and somebody like took his kid hostage, and he refused to comply and pay the ransom, because he figured if he did that, like then people would just basically do that till he was drained financially of all his wealth. And so like I think they even cut off like part of his face or something. It's really traumatic, or it was his finger or something. But like, anyhow, they ended up. I guess he got returned to his father, but it was just like this really traumatic experience. And then I think he ended up being kind of like a weird drug addict as an adult, because I mean, who wouldn't after an experience like that? But also like spent like, I think a good portion of his wealth and fortune, as you know, a man with like that crazy past, just on drugs, and then on making this crazy film that is like visually kind of stunning, but like terrible. It's like not a really great movie, but it's like it's definitely one of those scenarios of like when somebody has all the resources in the world. But yeah, I think he blew like a good portion of his fortune on this like crazy horror movie that does a lot of these really like inventive like intercut sequences, but I think on a plot level is just kind of insane. But he also did things like build like a full puppeteering rig of like an automated animatronic band for the set, and like all sorts of other cool stuff. But it was just like super interesting. Oh, okay, sorry. He was the cousin of the one who was kidnapped. Thank you. Yeah, and then he got his ear cut off. Yeah, it's just crazy. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. But it's just like a really crazy, definitely like one of those stories that makes you realize like having significant amount of money doesn't necessarily bring happiness, you know? Yeah, so that was a nutty one. Yeah, hyper perfectionist, did everything out of his pocket. And I think he spent like, how many years was it, Jake? Maybe you can tell me, but it's like he spent like a ridiculous amount of time trying to make this movie. And then I don't think it even was edited until I think he like passed away, and then like whoever his partner was on the film like just kind of ended up editing it in like a week and finally putting it out. But I think by that point it was just like, I mean, he had just, I forget, but it's one of those notorious stories in Hollywood where like the guy just overworked this thing out of like just a labor of love and like a just idea of perfection, and probably like fueled by like a crazy amount of drugs. But yeah, that story is amazing. Yeah, 12 years, died of an overdose of heroin after use during the editing process. Yeah, it's just nuts. And I think it was all built around like a dream that he had. It's a crazy story. I feel like I definitely should watch the movie just for that. Like this story of that is super fascinating. Okay, so blessed. Yeah, good point. Frank was like, say no to drugs. Yeah, that's definitely one of those stories that makes you not necessarily want to dip into certain drugs, because all right. So, okay. So here we go. And we're at about the halfway point, which is pretty cool. My hope today when I finish this is to get my workout in, because I definitely have to maintain that. I have a couple things I need to do around the house. Definitely want to hang with the kid, so that'll be a good thing. Almost as insane as Howard Hughes. Yeah, totally, dude. Howard Hughes is a cool story too. My favorite depiction of Howard Hughes is in The Rocketeer. I feel like that movie was really cool, and a lot of people don't. I don't know. Maybe now it's like people acknowledge like how good it was, but I think that was a really. I really love that movie. It still holds up. It's like pretty solid production values. I think it's mostly practical effects. So the effects are really good. The costuming's good. The story's great. You know, who doesn't like a good action film where, you know, it's fighting Nazis? Like that's, I don't know. I feel like that was just a wonderful, wonderful movie. And like, if you guys haven't seen like The Rocketeer, like go see it. Well, not go see it, not like it's in film in theaters, but definitely check it out, because I feel like that one just like slipped under the radar. And like if I watch like Dick Tracy, right, like the Warren Beatty film, it like totally doesn't hold up at all. To me, I don't think it holds up. I mean, I think there's cool things about Dick Tracy the comic, but I definitely feel like that that movie, that film does not hold up well. But like, what's funny is like Rocketeer came out around the same time, and I feel like it should have gotten the hype that Dick Tracy did at the time. It's just like, it's an incredible film, and just like great casting, good acting. It's just a lot of fun, and I feel like I love that kind of thing. Like as a kid, I loved the Indiana Jones films. In my mind, there's no more than 3 of them. And that's how it shall remain. But it's like, but yeah, like there's something about that action adventure kind of, you know, plot line that I think carries through to like, you know, like Tintin, the comics, like that kind of vibe of just like a sort of action adventure romp, like, you know, that takes place in I don't know. I guess my point is like it's worth checking out. I like that. Yeah, The Aviator is really good too. But yeah, Howard Hughes is a really interesting character too.
Mom,
It's always fascinating to me when people have like almost everything at their disposal and they're just super unhappy. I don't know. I always find that really interesting when people have like reached a point where like they have no financial needs. Like they're just set. They can go anywhere in the world whenever they want, you know. And yet for some reason they're still plagued by some kind of desire to do more, or to do something great. It's just fascinating to me, like how that works, like the psychology of that. DiCaprio is interesting because, like, as an actor, he's one of those guys. Like, and I think this is just a holdover from the era of like Titanic, but it's like I always want to dislike him. And there's a couple actors like that, like just guys that like I don't know if it's jealousy or whatever, but it's like I definitely I tend to want to dislike him in a role. Like I want to see something and be like, oh, he's terrible. But he's incredible in like every single role I've seen him in. So I'm not sure why I have that. I actually have a similar thing with Tom Cruise. Like I want to dislike Tom Cruise, but he's actually pretty incredible in most stuff. I think I have more reason for wanting to dislike Tom Cruise because as a person, he just doesn't necessarily seem like the greatest dude. But it's like, but it's similar where it's like anytime he's in a role, I'm like, I really, really want to like just not like it, but then I'll watch it and be like, yeah, he's pretty good. Do you guys have anything like that? Any actors that you just like you really want to dislike, but then when you see them in something, you're like, yeah, they're pretty incredible. I don't know why DiCaprio's always on that list for me, but just me being honest here, not saying it's justified. It probably isn't at all. Just a weird thing about my personality, I guess. But yeah, that one is one of the ones that makes the least sense to me is DiCaprio because I shouldn't, in theory, like want to dislike DiCaprio. He's an incredible actor. Yeah, it might be that, Frank, like the pretty boy image. I mean, that might be it. But I mean, it's just so unfair to somebody. Like, at least from my perspective. Jesse Eisenberg is rough to decipher, but in some roles he works great, but rage when he's in others. Huh, interesting. Okay, so we're almost done with this part. Oh, man. Okay, so here we go. And similarly, I'm going to have another little sequence that's going to have that thumb. That good old thumb, you guys. Thumbs are always fun to draw. In this case, maybe we see a little bit of the finger. Catch Me If You Can. I can't remember it, actually. I may not have actually seen it, Jake, but it's probably good. Okay, so similarly, another one where I need to have it. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, that kind of doesn't make sense. Type should be cut off here. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, so now we got this, and we're going to do a little bit of shading in this area. So we're going to have a little bit of this kind of thing going. And I might actually need to, let's see here. Okay. What was it? It was going to be the blessed are the meek. Line, which is going to be what I'm highlighting here. Again, using that old trope of like I'm sure there's a term for that where you're like highlighting a certain range of text. But I definitely think it's a holdover from ye old films. Kind of want to redo this section so that it kind of reads a little better though. The beach, remind me of that. I think I've seen it. From what I recall, I think that was like almost like a Lord of the Flies type plot. Am I wrong? This is another one of those weird, like, great books. Like, I love Lord of the Flies, but I actually think that's a great book for like countering people with like too idealistic of viewpoints about humanity. I just think Lord of the Flies like sums up my skepticism of like just pure like no holds barred like libertarianism, or even pure like no holds barred socialism, where I'm just like, if it's too idealistic, it could be like a fighting for the conch shell kind of thing. That's right. I do remember that. It's been a long time since I've seen that film, though, so it was kind of a similar. Okay. Okay. All right. Now we've got "Blessed are the meek." Getting through some Beatitudes, you guys. And let's see. Okay. So here we go. Also need to kind of plug this guy in. Charge my. All right. I am really excited about this new the this guy though. Like having a new webcam is going to be awesome, I think, for future possibilities and future streams. All right, so this is, I'm going to get the block to type in, and then I'm going to actually step out for like 2 more seconds. Something I got to take care of real quick. Plus, I need more coffee. Okay, so let's see here. So let's get this type in. Was, oh, too thick. Okay, was. All right. This is going to cut back to the apartment. Let's see here. So I need to look at the panels from the previous page. Let's see. Does this one have a sequence in the apartment? Okay, so. So this is going to be, I think this will be good as like a side shot. I'm just going to knock out this panel real quick. I want it to be tilted head a little more.
Do you have any idea where Benji's little Lego guys might have been?
No idea. Lego guys?
Yeah, the big Legos, you know, the actual little people
Mhm.
that you use with the toys? Yeah. Okay.
No idea. They're pretty big though, so yeah.
Okay, I'll check the car. Benji, I'm gonna check the car, okay? Just in case.
Okay. Okay. So just blocked in that so that I could do a little bit of thumbs.
Did you find them? No. So weird.
Are they in the bathroom
No,
from
they're not in the
playing?
bathroom. I have them in the room somewhere.
Okay, so my son is looking for these figures that he made out of giant Legos. And I have no idea where they are. But they're pretty big, so I could imagine they're probably not like hiding anywhere crazy. Yeah, we were trying to kind of figure that out for a second there. Okay, so here's the, kind of want this more of like a All right. So one of the things I love doing when I'm working on comics is these little sub goals. Like, so for instance, me working on this today is sort of a self-imposed thing because I had, that's not working. I had missed like yesterday, like one of my goals. So I'm having like almost like a self-imposed, forcing myself to get the thing I needed to do yesterday for it done today. But I also do little goalposts as I go. So like for me right now, I kind of want to get a refill of coffee and take a little break for about 20 seconds before I finish this page. But I've also decided to kind of like force myself to finish this panel first. And that I know it's weird and maybe it's not all that strange, but it's like I find that coming up with little goalposts along the way like allows me to maintain focus and get more done than I would otherwise do. So which is pretty cool actually, I think. Okay. Okay, and this is going to be the couch, and that'll be kind of like a little bit of the couch. So I feel like having little micro goals like helps me make progress that I otherwise may not make. Because comics are a long slog, especially for artists, I think, like myself, that it takes me a long time to do these things. So I'm not a fast artist. Because of that, if I want to make comics, I have to kind of come up with ways to force myself to make more progress, get more done than I otherwise would. Okay. Blocking that out. I think that works. Okay, not the most beautiful panel, but that works. We've got that. And now we are a good 2/3 of the way through the page. So Jake, what's the next comic on your doc? Like, what's your next project? You finished the Indie Volt Revolt thing that you were working on, right? So like, what's next on your doc? Zero save, and then okay, I'm gonna take a 20-second break again, and then hopefully come back and knock out the rest of this. But I am glad I decided to do the call and repeat kind of technique where it's like a call and answer. So it's got scripture, then it's got an image that relates to that, scripture, an image that relates to that, scripture, image that relates to that, and it's going to continue until it gets through the sequence. Okay, and I am going to have to look up another one. Okay. Okay, I'll be right back in about 20 seconds. Got 4 on the dock. 4 projects? Dude, that's pretty awesome. All right, I'll be right back. But let me know what projects, dude. I'm curious. Okay, gonna get a refill. Therefore, okay. I've got so much on the platter. It's disgusting how much I keep saying yes to all of it. Yeah, I've been feeling that a lot lately. I had to actually turn down a pretty good paying project that would have been fun because I was just like, I have to work on my thing. And usually I'm trying to say yes to things, but it's funny because like the last week has been a lot of opportunities that I would have really enjoyed like a year ago. Some of which I've been having to say no to. And I still have to consider like 2 others that came up like this week. But that one that I had to turn down recently was really tough because it was like thousands of dollars that I had to be like, I just can't. For a gamble, basically, because, you know, potentially what I would have made on the project I turned down is probably more than what I'll see from doing this book. So it's an interesting juggle, I think. Kind of balancing, like you kind of want to say yes to opportunities. But there are definitely times where if you want to see a project through, even like a weird project like this, my goodness, I have hiccups. Go through, it's like you actually have to say no to things, which is interesting because I've spent the last few years trying to be better at saying yes to things, but it's coming full circle to where I've had to make some hard choices just to make sure I'm getting this done. Oh my goodness, hiccups. Okay, that's hilarious though. So let's see. Okay. Let's see what I can do here. Okay, so I need to look up this verse and find out where it is. Okay, it's still Matthew. It's just Matthew 6, 25 to 34. And I gotta shoot a photo of it real quick. Let's see here. Camera. Let's see. Of course, whenever I need my phone or my camera, it's like 9 times out of 10, it's running low on batteries. Okay. How much of this am I shooting? Okay, I'm trying to take this without it getting too blurry. Okay, that I'll airdrop. And the nice thing about this, as silly as it is like these photos are one photo reference I'm not going to have to get again, which is great. So let's see. Okay. But I know it doesn't make for the most interesting streams, so I will get back to drawing in a second. Okay. There's that dog I was talking about, the Chihuahua who has small man syndrome. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. He's a cute dog, though. He's just, it's funny because he totally has like, I have a couple neighbors like this too. They're sort of short dudes. And I'm not trashing short dudes, but it's like, you know, they're short, but they like work out like monsters, you know, because like they have to get bigger because they're short. And then similarly, like they tend to buy like the biggest truck you can imagine, and it's like that's what's parked. And it's one of those things where it's like hard not to like look at that and go like, I think that might have something to do with being short. Like I hate to bring that up because it's like I have plenty of really good friends who are short, but it's just I don't know. I feel like the dog has that a little bit. They bred those dogs a little too small, and so they have this like really freaked out kind of life. Yeah, so that's a lovely thing to bring up, but I don't know. It's just funny to me. As terrible as that is to say, it's just I don't know. I notice that about people sometimes. Okay, and this is going to be. I don't want to tilt it too much because I feel like if you tilt type a little too much, if you tilt type a little too much, it makes it hard to read. But I also don't want it to be too small. Okay, there we go. And we're going to just turn that down a little bit. And once again, this is not going to be a thumb now. This is actually going to be a finger that's pointing. Okay, back to it. I just feel like sometimes the straightforward solution is the right one with comics, and then sometimes you want to get really artsy with the framing. And in this case, it's just, again, because it's like a call and repeat, it makes more sense to just have this stick to the 9-panel grid. So, a lot of fun. Let's see here. I am pretty happy though. I feel like it's making pretty good progress, and it's going to be interesting to see when I can get back to the page after this, because I do hope to kind of do 2 today, because yesterday, this is what I would have done on the night gang yesterday, but this is me playing catch up to where I needed to be today. And I do have like a long list of stuff that I really need to do. Okay. I'm also, strangely enough, like because I've gotten in the habit of exercising, and the main purpose I do exercise is like to like keep my mind and body like ready for work. How's it going, Ronnie? So I'm actually looking forward to that today too. Weirdly enough, if I find my oh, hold on a sec. So if I find if I take too long of a break from exercising, I don't look forward to it. But if I like actually keep at it consistently, then it's like I actually get excited because I also I know it's nerdy, but it's like I'm a pretty scrawny dude, and so I have to do protein shakes like whenever I do uh, workouts, but I do them as like a smoothie with like frozen fruit, so they're like super tasty too. So it's funny as I'm working on this, I'm like all eager to get to the thing that if I put it off and I don't do it every day, then I usually will like dread it and not look forward to it and stuff like that. But as long as I'm maintaining the habit, I actually get to a point where I'm like, ooh, I'm looking forward to that smoothie, you know. How you doing, man? Ronnie, how's your comic coming along? Is this one of your days off, or I'm imagining because this is not a night gang stream. This is a day gang. This is like the uh, day gang stream. So maybe that means you're not on your way to work. Usually, Ronnie will hop on here like when he's about to head to work. I think that's supposed to say light lift. So I know this is fun. Not the most exciting thing to watch, but it's like I'm just basically tracing biblical text at this point, just for expediency on these thumbnails. Crimson Owl Comics hyped for summer. Doing some writing for your first episode on Tapas. Ooh. You are definitely going to have to come on here and let us know. Actually, honestly, Ronnie, when you're about to launch, give us a heads up, and maybe Scott and I can have you on to talk about it. Maybe after like your first week or when you're trying to hype it up. We'll put on. Okay, so is life not more than food? Gotta move this hand. Very excited though. 3 panels left, guys. 3 panels, and then I'm caught up for where I needed to be last night. Long story short, last night, and I have this happen every once in a while where, you have life on top of doing these things. So every once in a while, like my day job will get really crazy and busy because I'm an art director, and there's just times where it gets like crazy, insane. And even if I get off work on time, and I'm sure everybody who has like a job like relates to this, but it's like there are those times where it's just so demanding at the day job that it like exhausts you mentally, like whether you're doing overtime or not. And I definitely had one of those this week where it was like fun work and stuff, but it's just one of those moments where you have to be like functioning at like 150%. And so like just, yeah, for me, it was like when I got home, I was like, I'm going to take a nap. And then I just crashed the whole night. And so now I am playing catch up, which is funny because these are all like self-imposed deadlines. Like my publisher is really cool about whenever it gets done, it gets done. It's one of the advantages of working with like a really indie publisher. So this is almost there. Let's see here. Okay, we're getting there, guys. We are getting there. So, okay. Anxious about lilies of the field. Okay, together, toil, and then there's. Okay, boom. Oh, goodness. Forgot one little thing, which is there's going to need to be. Okay, got it. Okay. So now we're going to do a little bit more of that device. And it should be at the therefore and clothing. Okay. There we go. Crazy old 1930s plot device. Last Artcasters was great to watch. That's cool, man. I thought it was really inspiring and cool. I like Chris a lot. He's a really cool dude, and I think he had some really good insights. And it was funny because from that conversation, I was like, dude, I need to get Javi on. So I reached out to Javier, and he's going to be the guest on this Thursday's Artcasters, which should be really cool. Sometimes I get like, try to think of like getting diverse and interesting guests, and like I will just forget. Stupidly, I will forget about like people I've known for years that I really should reach out to and have on. So that was one of the ones where just from that conversation, I was like, dude, I need to get Javier on here. So very cool conversation, very inspiring dude. And just like really good topic too, where like yeah. So let's see here. Boom, got it. Okay. Call, repeat. Okay, that pattern's going okay. And now we've got okay, so this is going to say I felt this was true. All right, Frank, you're back with a bang. That's right. Okay. I think I am easily at this point a quarter of the way through the script page, fourth to last script page, which is pretty cool. Okay. Seemed like everywhere okay. And let's see if I can get this. And I want this to actually fit in here, which it should anyway. should fit here. I'm also really excited because, like I said, I also need to eat lunch, and it's already 2 o'clock. So my goal is to get this done. This is going to be a weird editorial style thing here too. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so we're going to do Oh, that's a good call, Jake. All right, man. Catch you in the nighttime, dude. It's good seeing you again, Jake. Congrats on getting through all your school stuff. All right, so okay. Here it's going to break a little bit because it's going to be 2 lines, so I can break the grid just a tiny bit. But I still want like that lower mark as like a guide for my my stuff. Nice. Good thinking. Yeah, you guys are making me want to finish this up so I can get some food. But I gotta rock the rest. Thank you guys for hanging out during the stream. It's been fun. All right, let's see here. So we're gonna do. I'm gonna do like some stacks of cash. Stacks of cash. Again, not like super deep, but I think it'll play out okay. Stacks of money. All right. Doing those cash stacks, guys. Those fat cash stacks of money here for this. All right. Here we go. All right. And we're getting there. And now we've just got
I'm not going anywhere. Just trying to clean up this stuff.
Even art.
That's a lot.
Come on. There's that dog reminding people that he is trying to sound bigger than he is. Let's see here.
Mom, you see, this guy is mostly human, but he is also a raccoon.
Oh, a raccoon tail. Hi, Pops. You have dinner?
Publisher.
CK, come on, baby. CK, come on, Papa.
He's so lazy. Come on.
So it's the pup's dinner time, and I am super close to being able to have my lunch, which is pretty exciting. So All right, guys. So check this out. I think I'm close. I think here I'm just going to have it be sort of its placement. So yes, I'm doing a stream right now. I'll be right there though in a second, okay? All right, so we're gonna do this. Let's place it. This is a thing I like to do for. Oh, hold on a sec. Yeah, trying a daytime stream, Corey, but I'm just about to wrap it up. Welcome though. I'm trying to kind of create the last page. You know what? I'll do that after I do the shading. I think I was jumping a step. Okay, so here it's going to be. It is funny though. It's the dog's dinner time, so that barking you're hearing is our dog CK, who's actually in 2 Stories Book 1, and he is a pug that is obsessed with food. He's super obsessed with food, so this is like his favorite time of day where he's getting his dinner. And then I am about to wrap up here. How are you doing, Corey? How's it going, man? I'll probably be doing a stream tonight, though, on my typical night stream. The reason I'm doing a daytime stream is to catch up with where I needed to be last night on it. So, okay, so here we go. A little bit of this. Not going to get super into rendery business. You want to have a little bit here. Okay. But what's cool is a couple hours of this and nice, dude. Corey, well, if you want, man, I'll probably be live streaming a little later today as well. So if you want to hang.
Josh, there's a pot pie in the freezer if you want it.
Okay. Thank you. I might just do that. Okay, so let's see. And merge down. And here we go. And we're just going to do a real quick stream. Okay, here we go. That's what I wanted, was that blurry, dislocated kind of vibe, because I like doing that every once in a while. Okay. There we go. And done. You guys have been awesome. Thanks to everybody who showed up on the stream. I'll post this on Instagram as I do all my finished thumbnails. And thanks for keeping me company during the strange, irregular daytime stream. So I will probably see you guys maybe later tonight. But I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody in the chats and showing up. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next stream. If you haven't yet, too, definitely pick up a copy of 2 Stories, my graphic novel. The first book is out, and it's on sale for less than $9. So if you wanted to pick up a copy for a friend or anything like that, that'll be a good thing. And till then, I will see you guys. This is my son. I'll see you guys on the next stream. Say bye, Ben. Goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.
Yeah. All right.
See ya.
See ya.